you like that special effect? I actually got the idea from Ken over at Nature Quest. He did that on one of his latest videos. I just had to give it a try. Okay, first heads up, dogs will be visiting us today. They're probably going to pop in and out of the shot, so no big deal. We're going to do a Geo Dome update. I'm going to tell you what's going on with the project. It's on a holding pattern at the moment, and I'll tell you why. Originally, I was going to cover it in polytarp. Really good stuff. Couple problems I found out with it. Polytarp is made to resist oils, UV, and adhesive, apparently. So originally I was using the H66 to glue the two pieces together, and we're going to do a demonstration here in a minute, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. And it would barely adhere, it would adhere to the plastics, but not strong enough to my satisfaction that it would actually hold up in a storm. And yeah, so I got to thinking, okay, I'll glue a seam on there, or I'll glue it together, and then I'll get a sewing machine, which I went out and got. Purchased a sewing machine, and I discovered, yeah, I was going to glue and then sew a seam on there. I discovered I can't sew with a crap. And that's after watching a couple videos, so I decided, you know what, I'm just going to hold off there. So I got a friend of mine interested in this whole idea, and she works in retail. She brought me a bunch of these. What these are is basically window vinyl. They put advertisements on there and they put it in a window of a retail store. Now it is a vinyl, and the H66 is made to adhere vinyl. And it is UV resistant, and this stuff is just freaking strong. I mean, it takes a lot of effort to pop a hole through it. So the only problem with these are I can only get a couple of these a week. So it's going to take me a while to build up enough to actually cover the dome with, because I figured it was going to take 3 9x12 polytarps to cover it. Now, I'm probably going to build a poly cover for it anyway, just to see if I can do it and make a pattern from a little bit later, for a little later down the road. So, I've got my demonstration table set up. What we're going to do is I'm going to put some H66 on the polytarp, and then on the window vinyl I just received, and I'm going to show you how strong the window vinyl actually is. So, let's come over here and get started. I'm going to give you a little heads up about the H866. Make sure you use this in a well-ventilated area. If you don't, you're going to get one heck of a headache. Okay, so first thing we're going to do is we're going to apply some on the polytarp. And I'm probably, so you can tell the polytarp's already coming off the tape. And we're going to put that, I want to say, let's do about 1 inch. Now, the best way I found to get the polytarp to stick is you have to apply it to both pieces and then press those together. So we need to let it dry for approximately, I want to say about 1 minute. Now, we're going to come over here, and this is the window vinyl. And we got to move quick because it does not take much at all to get this to start activating. So apply some on there. And you can see it's already starting to curl up and have a chemical reaction with it. Or just simply put the polytarp on there. Not polytarp, what am I talking about? Vinyl. I'm going to press it down with the tape. And I'm going to seal this edge up again. We're going to let that dry. This almost ready, but it's close enough. And then we're going to put these two pieces together on the polytarp, smooth them out. I'm going to do the same thing I did to the other one, hopefully get the seam to seal. Now, all we got to do is we are just going to wait, and it usually takes about an hour for it to cure, to where we can actually work with it, and then they say probably 24 hours to totally cure. So we're going to wait the hour, and you know what, I'm actually going to cheat a little bit because I want to give the polytarp a fair chance. I'm just going to flip it over real fast and make sure this seam is sealed up all the way. So I'm going to put a little bit more on the back side here, the polytarp, to give it a little bit more of a fighting chance. Oh, another thing very important, make sure you seal your H66 up. If you do not, it dries out very fast, and it's kind of expensive, especially when you buy it on the gallon here. So, now we play the waiting game. Wow, that was really one fast hour. Actually, I started playing with the dogs and lost track of time, so it turned out to be more like an hour and 45 minutes. So I'm pretty sure these are dry. Now it's time for the stress test. We're going to attempt to pull these suckers apart. The first one will be, of course, the polytarp. And as you remembered, I glued both sides of it, hoping it would hold together. So I'm going to hold her even. Get a good grip on this thing. Start giving it a good tug. Well, did not even take a good tug, and yep, it is dry all the way, unfortunately. So yeah, that's not really going to hold together. Now, to be all fairness, probably 24 hours might have got better results. Alright, let's move right over here to the vinyl. Let's see how it did. If I can get it unstuck. Of course, I'm going to do the same thing I did with that. Okay, hang on. Let's try this. Remember, same drying time. Lord have mercy. Oh, that's interesting. Okay, let me show you what has happened here. What has happened is actually it did not come unglued. If you look right here, this is where it's glued. Okay, that's going to be pointless. And here, what has actually happened is it tore. So I probably, when I cut it, left a frayed edge, and it actually tore. So the H66, see, really adhered these two pieces together a lot better than they did on the polytarp, which is kind of unfortunate because I was hoping that that would work. So another good thing about the window vinyl is it comes in a clear plastic, and I could actually make windows out of it a lot easier than I could with the polytarp. I don't have to do any sewing, which is a good thing because I pretty much suck at the whole sewing thing. So another thing is, before you ask, and I know a couple people will ask, did you use a heat gun on the polytarp? Yes, I did, and it pretty much melted on me, so that didn't work. And I also tried to make a heat press, and that didn't work either. It just pretty much disintegrated. So that's what's going on with the Geo Dome, and yes, it's going to take me a little while to gather up all these window vinyls to make a big one for the dome, but I'm patient, and hopefully I'll get it done before winter. And honestly, I'll probably get a little stir crazy and actually make one out of polytarp anyway to see how it works out and make a pattern. Comments usually are more than welcome. If you have any other ideas how to adhere polytarp, I'd really like to hear them, because I still would like to use this just as a temporary cover, but I don't want it ripping apart on a storm. So, comments are welcome, and like always, thanks for watching.